Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another movie review. What? It's technically a Christmas movie. Because it takes place on Christmas Eve, this movie's been the subject of debate among the online folk, the civilized of the online folk, as to whether or not this constitutes a Christmas movie. What happens when a man comes home to be with his family for Christmas, but accidentally kind of walks in the middle of a terrorist robbery slash takeover? Let's find out as we review Die Hard. As always, I'm not professional movie reviewer analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, and I had a pretty solid time for the most part with this movie. And like I said, it's technically a Christmas movie, I guess you'll find out why as we go through it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. For those of you who've seen these reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. For those of you who haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the movie, and I'm kind of gonna try to reference the plot as much as I can. And I think I am gonna try to. I kind of tried it before, but I think I'll try to do like a plot summary going into it before getting to my pros and cons. And when it comes to the movie, I forget which movie I did it before with, but I'm gonna try to do it more often. So if that is something you guys are interested in, if you like the new approach, or if you want me to just go with my normal approach of just the likes and dislikes and only reference the plot when necessary, please feel free to let me know in the comments. But pretty much essentially, it kind of is what it says. And I do have the wiki up for reference when it comes to the plot to, help me out a little bit. But nevertheless, Officer John McClane comes to, and he's part of the NYPD, but he comes to Los Angeles to be with his wife and family. And essentially they're kind of strange because they live so far apart. Obviously, he Los Angeles, all the way on the other side of the country from New York, and I would definitely know because as I do have a friend and out in Los Angeles, and I am in New York, of course, but yeah, John McClane doesn't see them as often because, he's part of the force and stuff. He's an officer. They often don't get holidays. That's kind of just how it is. But he actually goes to a party at Nakatomi Plaza, he, when he gets to the airport, he meets up with his limo driver Argyle, who will kind of come back into the story, but pretty much relaying what's happening with Argyle. So he gets to the party. He interacts with his wife, who is surprised to see him. She was hoping he would arrive, but didn't think he would actually show. And of course, they do have a mini argument that's about to ensue, and she does leaving John alone in the office. There is a guy who's trying to hit on his wife Holly. But nevertheless, while John is changing and everything, and the tower is taken over. A group of terrorists come in, take out the security guard, and they essentially take over the tower. Everybody's taken hostage except for Officer McClane, who is still in the office, so they don't know he's there. When it comes to the 80s action movies, that's pretty much all the backstory you need. It's like, all right, and it's kind of that's kind of just how it was back then. Like, here's the backstory. All right, go shoot some stuff. That's kind of now. Of course, the plot does come up and stuff throughout the movie, but otherwise, this is where the action begins. So, John has to essentially fight his way through the tower and take out the hostage. At first he doesn't quite know what's going on, but he does hear the gunfire and realizes something's going on. They're essentially there at first to steal $640 million in bearer bonds, and so they have somebody, they have Theo, who's part of their crew, who pretty much hacking into a system to steal the money. They take the executive, Joseph Takagi. They try to get the codes from him, but he refuses. He said he doesn't know the code, so they kill him. So John witnessed all of that, and that's when he really realizes what's going on, and so he takes out one of the guards, and John here, he's definitely the MVP, which makes sense. He's the main character, or taking out the terrorists pretty much almost one by one, and so he takes them out, steals. He does have his pistol with him, but then he takes the machine gun, and then. And also takes the radio, not just so he can listen to the conversations from the invaders or slash terrorists, but then also to contact the LAPD on a secure channel. But at first, they are skeptical of it, which sadly is probably the most realistic part of the movie. But then eventually they hear gunfire over the radio, so they send an officer over to investigate. They send Officer Al Powell, who's played by Reginald Vell Johnson, aka aka Carla Winslow from Family Matters. Wow, Key and Peele was right. Hey, he really was in Die Hard, or which I forgot he was in this movie. But nevertheless, here he is. But nevertheless, so he shows up to investigate. Almost turns back around because the terrorists try to make it seem like everything's fine, everything's cool. But then as he's about to pull off, John drops one of the bodies onto the car, and obviously gunfire is heard and everything, and the officer crashes the car, so that's how he knows, okay, something is going down, and now the police officers are definitely on their way, and we'll see how they come up. Meanwhile, the hostages, and they do cut back to the hostages that have been taken, and our protagonists, as well as the police, as we see them escalating. And we see the superiors come in, and we see the FBI come in. So, excuse me, things are definitely ramping up in that department. But Harry, the guy who was trying to flirt with Holly, Harry comes in, tries to negotiate, tries to say he and John are friends, and tries to essentially get John to call off his crusade and everything. John's trying to save his life, no, don't tell, we're not friends and everything, pretty much trying to spare the guy's life. And Harry, he's doing it thinking it'll get him out of trouble, but nope. Because of non-compliance, he is shot dead by Hans, which his name isn't quite known yet, but he is shot by Hans. He joked that he was going to be shot by Hans. Hans pretty much trying to establish the ruse so that John McClane would give up the crusade and everything, but not the case. And actually, it was more so not just to give up the crusade, but also the detonators. Yes, they are planning to bomb the building, which is absolutely insane. Like the stuff that these guys are going through is absolutely insane. But it was definitely kind of indicative of that time. And so. The detonators, they want them back. So they want the detonators back, but unfortunately, John's not giving it to them. And he tries to say it's useless because he used a couple of the bombs as the terrorists were attacking some of the police force, not quite the police force, but the SWAT team. And there was a SWAT team that tried to come into the building, but they were taken out with rocket launchers. Yeah, these guys have rocket launchers, but John does take out the rocket launchers, so he thinks the detonators would be of no use, but turns out they have other C4 explosives. And the way John set off the C4 by taping it, throwing the screws in, and then throwing the chair down was pretty cool as well. Also, I know I for me trying to stick to the plot. I am kind of all over the place, as I admit it. But as like I said, Harry, he's killed. And at first, and also kind of a fourth plot thread is shown. The news people are trying to get involved. They end up leaking John's real name, and they leak Hans's name, or I believe, I forget if it is his real name or at least the alias used, because I believe it's his real name. But pretty much trying to leak everything, which is the other realistic part about this movie. Sadly, especially when it comes to journalism and stuff like that. And I know it's kind of exaggerated, like a greedy evil journalist just dedicated to a story. But sadly, if other situations in real life are anything to go by, it's more realistic than I think people would think, and that's the really sad part. But they try to leak as much as possible. McClane does run into Gruber, which he doesn't know exactly what Gruber looks like, but then eventually Gruber does try to shoot John, but after John hands him his handgun, but oops, John took out the bullet. That allows John to escape and take out some of the other terrorists. He's taking out the terrorists as well, like throughout it. And I do like a lot like the cat and mouse elements as well, but we'll get into it when I get more into my pros and cons. John escapes. It's once again, and eventually the FBI does show up and they cut off the power. Which, would you know it, hit the terrorists, that's exactly what they need to unlock the final lock in the vault, and then finally take the bonds and everything, which the FBI didn't know, but going through terrorist protocol, shutting off the power to instead, so I guess make them sweat and everything, and because there's no power to the building, and obviously he never been a part of the FBI, so I don't know if that actually quite works, but I'm sure it might. Anybody who's more versed in that stuff than I am, please let me know in the comments. Let's take out the power, but that's what they need to open in the vault. And they also give in to the demands of Hans. So Hans, he has his men escort the hostages up to the roof where they'll be taking transport ships up, but it turns out it would be a double cross, as they're planning to explode the roof, which is what they wanted the detonators for, and they do eventually get the detonators back, but John thankfully catches on to this, and the FBI does instead send gunships. They think they're sending transport ships, but they actually send gunships. So John picks up on that as well. So he gets the people off the roof, and the FBI does try to shoot at John because they think he is one of the terrorists because he's waving the gun around shooting. John gets upset, like, I'm on your side, but at the same time, a guy waving his gun around in the air shooting at stuff, it's gonna look a bit iffy, but nevertheless, as John does get the people off the roof once he realizes what's about to happen, and through more digging into the news and everything, and he's found out Holly, which at first Holly goes by her maiden name, which helps to further illustrate the kind of estrangement between her and John, but it turns out to be in her benefit because they don't know she's connected to John until the news shows up at their house to get an interview, and pretty much to help expose them, which it's the news is definitely, I'm pretty sure, like, if this was realistic, that I'm sure would probably be perhaps a felony. I don't know. It's at least breaking and entering, but I don't know fully the logistics of that. So if anyone wants to enlighten me on that, please also let me know. So eventually, John takes out the rest of the terrorists, and notices some tape, and this is where that Christmas part comes in, and notices some tape for presents, and tapes his gun to his back. Seems like he's going to surrender to Hans and the last remaining guard slash like henchman, but then John pulls out the guns, takes out both guys. Hans is trying to hold on, but John takes off Holly's watch, and then and Hans does plummet to his death, at which apparently that wasn't planned. Like, they did. Alan Rickman, who does play Hans, I forget exactly what they said, but he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't expecting to fall that early. So the reaction he gave was genuine in that first shot, and that's the shot they ended up using in the movie. If you were gonna go with that shot, though, why bother with the other shots? But I guess they probably wanted to compare and contrast and say, you know what, that shot will work. We'll take it. It's a genuine look of surprise. So. Obviously, the hostages are saved. John reunites with his wife. If they're coming out to the police officer, which Officer Powell has been conversing with John the entire time, and really, vouching for him as well as the other officers because of all the intel that was given, and the fact that John's essentially in there or going full Rambo on the terrorists in there. But then, and one of the guards who John thought he killed, and the guy who's been chasing John because as John killed his brother, shows up at the end, but Officer Powell takes him out, gets the last kill. And it is a nice set, and the way they set that up earlier in the movie, I think was nice. A nice callback, because as they're discussing things, they'll often discuss not only what's going on, but about family stuff like that. And Powell also tells a story about how he accidentally shot and killed a 13-year-old because he thought he was a robber, or so he vowed never to draw his gun again. But he draws his gun, takes out the terrorist, and pretty much saves everyone, because who knows what he would have did. So Powell takes him out. John punches the news reporter, and deservedly so. And Argyle, who was there the entire time, and like I said, he does contribute because he crashes his limo into Theo. Theo tried to get into the truck to get away with the stuff, but Argyle crashes his limo into Theo and pretty much takes him out. I don't know if Theo necessarily dies, but he does at least knock him out. So he drives him off, and that was the movie. Now going into the pros and cons on what I liked and what I disliked about the movie. Starting with what I liked, this movie has a lot of action, like a lot of action, a lot of gore, or a lot of kills and stuff. It's pretty much 80s action in a nutshell. If you want to show someone a movie to show them what action movies kind of were like in the 80s, he's definitely, this one I think would be indicative of that. There's quite a bit of action and quite a bit of blood spilled. It does have quite a bit of heart to it as well. It does have some heart, and you can see John more so characterized even more from what we already know, compared to what we knew essentially from him as he's introduced. But obviously you get to know the characters, you get to know him, you get to know Officer Powell, you to an extent get to know Holly as well throughout the course of the movie. And they're essentially characterized by what they've gone through, not just as John's taking everybody out, but the conversations he has as well, his motives for doing what he's doing. Pretty much to take out the terrorists, because there's especially with him being a cop, it makes sense. And it's like imagine people in that situation either would have turned tail and run, or at the very least he probably just gave them in, just joined the rest of the hostages. But John, he ain't going down that way. And like I said, the cat and mouse elements throughout the movie were pretty cool as well. Seeing John, all the different ways John manages to outsmart the thugs and goons and everything. And it's not a character where he's overly just full on what's the way I'm trying to describe it? It's not like he's a full on just it's like super macho action hero. Oh, just beat down everything and just wins at every turn. Or no, John has to think on his feet a lot, literally, because he's barefoot most of the movie. He took off his shoes, but didn't put them back on. And because of the attack, excuse me, he but has to think on his feet quite a bit. Has to try to outsmart them, outsmart the goons and everything at every turn, and really trying to escape, really fighting for his life. And you definitely feel it through the course of the movie. And the Christmas elements, and it's all memes and stuff aside, having a bit of a nice Christmas message as well about being with family and things like that. That is kind of somewhat there as well. Heck, the movie ends with "Let It Snow." As far as I'm concerned, it is kind of a Christmas movie, and it is a Christmas miracle how John survived. Yeah, so there is that. But of course, every good hero needs a good villain, and Hans Gruber, seeing him seeing him kind of being more so the leader of the terrorists, but also kind of just another. Just as another part of a bigger organization and of radicals and stuff like that like European radicals and stuff like that. I forget the exact name of kind of what he was a part of, but seeing him throughout the movie, he is pretty fun to watch. He is definitely a joy to watch a lot of the jokes and stuff, and the jokes and stuff throughout the movie. Excuse me, accidentally hit the mic. Throughout the movie, he are also pretty entertaining as well, keeping it going. And, if I did have to find something to not really like about the movie, I do feel like the plot kinda isn't as important as the action. Like, it's definitely a lot more about the action, and the plot I don't think suffers greatly because of it, but you can tell definitely on the back burner, definitely the last thing on their mind, and is more so about the bang bang pew pew. But like I said, it's kind of like the thing at the time. Like, they set up the plot hot and like, all right, hey, here's your plot. Go along now, and I think it can work, and it does kind of here, but without like the conversations and stuff between Officer Powell and John, as well as the cuts back to the terrorists and things like that. They do a good job world building to keep things together, but otherwise, without that kind of stuff, you almost wouldn't know the plot, and you almost wouldn't care. Nevertheless, that is going to do it for this review. Technically, the next Die Hard movie should be considered a Christmas movie as well, because that also takes place on Christmas Eve. John, you gotta stop doing this on Christmas Eve, man. It's Christmas, man. But I don't know if I'll do that one. Maybe next year for Christmas or so. Oh, I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But nevertheless, in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the movie and my review. Did you like the movie? Did you like my review of the movie? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.